Just clicking.
That's it. Yes. Expected to change. I'm expecting to change. Expected to make it. Expecting this mindset. Set aside. Expected to make it. I gotta make it. I'm expecting to change. I gotta change. I'm expecting this mindset. To set aside my brain. I'm expected to make it. I gotta make it. I'm expected to change. I gotta change. I'm expecting this mindset. To set aside my brain. I'm expected to make it, you know me now. I built out sounds from the underground. I dug in my heart, look at what I found. Blood on my hands, it's a broken spot. Believing dreams through the spirit stream. There's two of me, one like that sea. The first word murder by the first degree. The smell of my corpse is a beautiful.
So you go tag me in it and I can share it?
God, you planned out my life, it's a perfect flaw. The greatest mistake was a change of names. Was a powder salt or was a solid apart? It's above the law, it's the biggest known. Damascus Road from the one unknown. Just write out your life through a microphone. I'd rather kill my flesh but never sell my soul. I'm expecting to make it. I'm expecting to change. I'm expecting this mindset. To sit inside my brain. I'm expecting to make it. I'm expecting to change. I'm expecting this mindset. To sit inside my brain. I'm expecting to make it. You know me now. I built down steps from the underground. I dug in my heart, look at what I found. The same old face with a crooked smile. A head full of change like a piggy bank. A paradigm shift made me change my name. You called out my bluff, so I give you thanks. Jehovah Jireh, you provide my faith. The Lone Star State is a birth to me. The Golden State easy cheap to me. It shouldn't cost a fee or the wicked flee. See, it's dark inside, let the light increase. Where the inner me is, it's my enemy. The storm in my flesh keeps reminding me. I do creation, doesn't love the old. See, it's back and forth, and then it's open, close. Where the death of me is where my life unfolds. Dedication, where the truth is told. Approved by God and not a congregation. Approved by love, just to reach the nations.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the HFM radio show. This is your host, Jenna Espinosa.
And Abraham Espinosa.
Yes, and we have Setra Stevenson in the studio tonight. So we'll be talking with her about her story. We'll be talking about domestic violence, how she is a survivor. She did not let her past define her. So why don't you say hello to our audience, Setra?
Hello out there. Hi, everyone.
Okay. So Setra has her own radio show as well. As how I met her. So I was a guest on her show, and so now she is a guest on our show. Yay! So she's actually the reason I have a show. She introduced me to Rob, and so we got our show going on. So huge thanks to her. Yes, everything always happens for a reason, and God puts those people in your lives always for a reason. So I just give thanks for our paths crossing.
Yes, thank you.
We're going to be talking about domestic violence and all the things that have been happening because, it just seems like here lately that a lot of it's been going on. You just see these news articles or on Facebook, like another woman's lost her life or, children losing their moms. So, why don't you tell us a little bit? Are you situated?
Yes, I'm good. Look, when you're a mom, you learn how to multitask.
I know it.
That's right.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your past? So you're from Michigan.
Yes, I am. I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. I moved here in Texas in 2012. So I don't know if I'm a Texan yet, but if not, that's okay. I heard I have to be here 10 years. So,
do you say y'all yet?
I say y'all. That's the one word I do have down pat. I'm Texan. I got that y'all down pat. So, okay, I'm a Texan. So I moved here about seven years ago, and I just said, you know what, I just want a change. So I packed my son. I think he was like 7. I don't know. Don't add it up, y'all.
I know it.
I packed him up. I had a Ford Fusion at the time, and we just got on the road and head on to Texas.
In the Fusion.
Yes, in the Fusion. I know. I know that car. Oh, yes.
So it was just you and your son?
Well, it was me and him when we first got here because my daughter, she was still in Michigan finishing up her senior year in high school.
Okay.
So when she came here and then she went to UNT. And my oldest son, he was in Michigan in Kalamazoo, I want to say. I can't even remember the city. But he was in college back in Michigan. So it was just me and the little one. Then the older two, they came up here afterwards.
Okay, so how many children are there with you?
It's 3. Yeah, my oldest son, he is 25. My daughter is 23. And then my son, he just turned 14.
Aww.
Wow.
Is he the one who's going to the 8th grade prom?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. I've been running around all day like he is going to a prom, but it's an 8th grade formal. So we've been at the mall all day yesterday. So he had school. So he told me, Mom, will you go and get the rest of his things? And I'm like, wait a minute. I say, oh, this stuff adds up. I think he showed me a picture of some shoes that he wanted. The amount that the shoes cost, I think that's what I spent for my whole prom outfit. Okay?
Well, you're not supposed to look at the price when you're that age.
Well, let's just say he didn't get those shoes.
Oh, that's right.
Oh my gosh. And he's not going to even wear them again. So I'm like, okay, no. So I'm still looking for shoes, and the formal is tomorrow.
Oh, man.
But we got the clothes. I just got to get the shoes.
You gotta get the shoes.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Help me, y'all. Help me.
Oh, well, he's the wrong person to ask us, girl. He can stay in the store for some hours because he's got to get a shirt that matches the shoes. That matches the hat.
And with the shoes.
It's everything.
I usually go to a store in West Dallas called David's Store.
Okay.
And in there they got all the Stacey Adams you want.
Okay, maybe I need to go there because I don't want to go to the mall. The mall is like so overpriced for some shoes that he's only going to wear one time. And he's wearing grown men's shoes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'll go to David's Store. And they have all kinds of Stacey Adams, all kinds of brands. And they're all good shoes, and they're reasonable price.
Okay, that's what I need, the reasonable price.
In West Dallas at Little Shopping Center.
I'll take that drive. He showed me a picture with some shoes that have spikes in them.
Oh.
Like,
wow.
I've never even seen these shoes. I say, boy, those shoes, that's a weapon. You can't wear those to school. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing. So I have to get
some kind of alligator or something.
So I don't know what it is, but I remember you can just get some plain black church shoes and wear them all year long.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
yeah, that's how I'm feeling right now, looking for 8th grade shoes.
So when you were in Michigan and you decided to come down to Texas, were you working at the time, or did you just up and go?
Well, when I left, I was working. I was on a leave of absence because I was working at the casino back in Michigan.
Okay.
And then I'll go further in my story because me and my ex-husband, we both worked there together. So I was at a point where I'm like, okay, you know what? I want to change. So I opened up a nonprofit where I did tutoring and mentoring. And I went and I got this big building. I said, you know what? I'm going to save all the kids in my old neighborhood. You know, I'm right by where my grandparents used to live, where my old church. I did all of that, but that didn't happen. I didn't get the support that I thought I was going to get. So I just ended up spending really all of my money into this youth development center. And I ended up closing it. So when I moved here to Texas, I really wanted to get my programs into the schools here in Texas, but I was given wrong information, told that I have to go through the whole teacher certification process, all of that, which I did. And then I started teaching. I first started teaching in Fort Worth. And I said, you know what? This is not what I want to do. This is not what I want to do. So
your life not for you?
It wasn't for me. No, I was not. I didn't want to do teaching full time. I just wanted to get my programs in the school.
Right.
So I only did that a year.
Wow.
And then I started an insurance agency. I opened up an insurance agency with farmers.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I did that for about 4 years and sold that agency. And then I started working in ministry. Something that was very new to me. I'm like, okay, really? Me?
Yeah.
Working in ministry? Okay.
That's how we are. That's how
we're pretty new to it.
We're pretty new to it, and we're getting deep into it. But I know the feeling. You're like, me in ministry.
I know. I'm like, God, look, these people, they know my past.
Yeah.
Right. But I am so glad.
That's why you're perfect for it.
Yes.
Because of your past.
Right.
Because, it's the same for us. We have a because of our past, it puts us in a perfect position because we can relate to the people.
Right.
You know, in ministry, that's what it is. It's people.
Right.
People is ministry.
Yes.
And ministry is love, and that's what they need.
Mm-hmm.
So because of the things that he's gone through, things that I've gone through, we're able to relate, and that's why we're able to help.
Especially with a little off the subject where I work at.
Okay.
I mean, there's a bunch of men, and we all say some crazy things.
Okay.
So going into the ministry is like, now they look at me and they play with me, but I kind of don't say nothing. I have a blank face or I laugh, but I don't continue it.
Right.
But it's still something that I work on, because sometimes I'm trying to, I was like, man, I'm a backslide. I better stop.
Right. Okay.
But I still catch myself. You know, that's still part of me growing.
That
more
Holy Spirit
into,
convicts him.
Yes.
The Holy Spirit convicts me
Ooh.
quick, and
Yes.
I'm like, oh, I better stop. So I do.
Yeah.
But, you know, knowing our past in my neighborhood, everybody's like, wow, you're in ministry?
Right, but that's good, because now you can reach the people who you used to hang out with, you know?
Right.
So I'm still, like, amazed on what God is doing in my life.
Yeah.
Like,
So what's he doing right now?
well, wow, I just have, like, wow, so much good things.
'Cause I think that there have been some things happening
Yes.
since the last time you and I have seen each other or spoke.
Yes.
You've had some other good things happening.
I have, and you know what? And it all goes back to my story.
Right.
And I'll share my story. Well, some people know that 12 years ago, my divorce was final on September the 7th.
Okay.
And 2 days later, my ex-husband, he broke in my house. And he stabbed me. He stabbed me, and he told my kids to stand there and watch me kill your mother.
Wow.
So it was 2 of my 3 kids that was there at the time. It was my youngest son, he was 2, and my oldest, I believe he was about 12. So they stood there because they didn't know what to do.
Right.
And so they watched their dad stab me over and over again. But I remember him choking me. And I passed out. And that's why when I talk about God, I'm telling you, I have a relationship with him, and I heard his voice. And I clearly heard his voice that day, and he said, not today. Your kids will not watch you die. Not like this. And so I was able to get up. Me and the kids, we were able to get out the house. And I remember my ex-husband, he was holding on to me, trying to put me in the car. And I'm saying to myself, if he put me in his car, I'm dead. Because I'm already cut up. He's not taking me to the hospital and say he did it.
Right.
You know, so by this time the neighbors, they're out. So he let me go. I remember running to the neighbor's house, and I just passed out on their yard. And now I wake up. I'm in the hospital. And now I hear my son. I hear my oldest son, and I'm wondering, okay, like, well, why is he in here? But no one can come and see me because it's a police investigation, because my ex-husband, he fled the scene. So now he's on the run. Okay. So people that know about investigations, you know, no one was able to come in my room. No one was able to come out. The doctors couldn't come until the police came and took their pictures and everything. Right. So now I'm hurting. I feel the pain now.
How many times were you stabbed?
I was stabbed 21 times. 21
times?
21. When I left out the hospital, I had 21 marks on me that wasn't there the day before.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So I'm hearing my son's voice, and I'm wondering, like, okay, well, why is he in here? Later, I find out that my son, my 12-year-old, was stabbed in the face as well.
Oh, my.
So when I say, when my ex-husband, when he was choking me, that's when my oldest son must have jumped on his back to get him off of me, and that's when he stabbed him, and I was able to get up. So I believe that's when I heard God's voice told me not today, because when my son, he jumped in to help me. Right. And he was stabbed in the face, and I thank God, yeah, it wasn't life-threatening. I mean, he had maybe about 6 stitches. I know it was under 10, I can't remember. But, you know, I just thank God it wasn't, you know, life-threatening. But when I talk about the stab wounds, people automatically, I mean, they like, oh my gosh. And if I was to, you know, hear it, I'd be like, oh my gosh. But it was the choking, I think that would have took me out. When he choked me, because I passed out. I don't remember anything from there.
Wow.
So yeah. So my 2-year-old actually told me everything that happened.
Oh Oh, no.
My 2-year-old. So after we leave the hospital, now we're in hiding because my ex-husband is still on the run. So he didn't turn himself in until like 2 weeks later.
So 2 weeks you were in hiding.
2 weeks we were in hiding. So we couldn't tell nobody where we were at. We were really like living really in fear.
Right.
So I just remember, friends would come and, here I'm in hiding, and they'll bring me guns like, hey, if he come here, you shoot him. So I'm like, how do you live your life like that? You're in fear. So everybody that comes to the door, I'm running to go get the gun, ready to shoot somebody. And I'm like, that's not me.
Yeah, you didn't want to live like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick break. So we'll be back in just a few minutes, and we'll hear more from Setra's story, because there is definitely more she's going to share with us. So stay tuned. Thank you again for tuning into the HFM radio show. This is your host, Jenna Espinosa.
And Abraham Espinosa.
We're on break. Hey, thank you, Facebook, for joining me. Hey, y'all.
It's not only just an event, but it's a time that we reach out to prostitutes and lead them to Christ. So I pray that you're preparing.
Thank y'all for joining me. I'm on the other side of the mic, y'all.
There are girls that are hurting out there, and the only way they're going to know Christ is if we take the gospel to them.
Talk to me.
They're not
I
going to
got
come to
questions.
us.
We're on break right now on the radio.
So I pray that you're excited about this, that God will stir your heart, and that you'll do your part in winning a prostitute for Christ. Code Red. That's the way we do it in Victory Outreach.
We'd like to say what's up to Mona Lisa. Thank you for watching. Jaime, what's going on, brother? Joe Rico, what's up, man? Pray for me while you're down there, the Mighty Men of Valor. Macario Martinez, how you doing? Marisol, thanks for watching. Pam Chapman, Bianca, how you doing?
Hey, y'all.
And Monray, Ray, what's going on, brother? Thank y'all for watching and locking us in.
I don't even know how to even comment on here. Can you comment on while you're on Facebook? Oh, it's out of the way.
Of Sundays and sermons and works,
yeah, I'm trying.
Caught in the flow. Oh, but we got real pain and real fears, thirsting for the trying.
Okay,
our real tears, it's not satisfying.
But it's not. Let me see how. Hey, Facebook. Hey, thank you. Hey. Right, I just said I should have brought my glasses. Look, y'all. But how do I don't know. It's not. Let me see. Hold on one second, y'all.
Oh, while you're live? Okay, you can't.
Don't it?
Yes, not.
Do you always let you make comments while you're going live? I'm just trying to figure this live out, y'all.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
It can make.
because you're watching it live, but you're not on the.
Okay. I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. Hi. Hey, Angela. We on a break right now. We about to finish this interview.
Gracie said she's watching too, Junior.
So we're
I'm glad you're watching.
Finish up here.
Been 2 shows I think that you missed.
He's taking it to the
I'm on the Her Future Radio, Her Future Matters radio show. So y'all go ahead and like their page.
Thank y'all for locking us in and listening to us.
We listening to music. Y'all can't even hear the music. Sorry, y'all. Talk to me. Hi, Ron. Hey, Shay's Treat. Hi, Herman. I'm trying to figure out how to. I can't. I'm trying to comment, but I can't. I don't know how. Oh, I think this how. Okay. Okay, I think I got it. Okay. Look, I'm not used to going live with my phone. We about to go back live? We about to go back live.
All right, thank you again for tuning in to the HFM radio show. This is your host, Jenna Espinosa.
And Abraham Espinosa.
Yes, and we have Setra Stevenson in the studio. So she was sharing with us her story of how she was stabbed 21 times, and then by her ex-husband, who made her two of their children watch. One was 2 and one was 12.
Which, including that, he stabbed one of her kids too, right?
Yes, in the face.
The face. Wow.
So she's sharing that story with us, and how while he was on the run, she was living in fear. Friends giving her guns and whatnot, and I can absolutely relate to that because I wasn't stabbed, but my youngest daughter, her father threatened to kill me and my children, all 4 of my children, when I left him. So she was about 2 years old when that happened. I had already left him, but I didn't want to be. I had already ended the relationship. I didn't want to, so I had moved away and into my own house, and he kept calling. He still wanted to be together, and I didn't. I was over the
She was
relationship.
done.
I was done.
I remember, she had my wife. Well, she wasn't my wife then. She was my friend. And
so we've been friends since we were 15.
Yeah. She was just so scared, and I was like, I'll come to her, and I go, what's wrong? And she would just tell me the whole story, and I'll just sit there with her. And then I wasn't saved. I was still in the world, and I was just sit there. I'm ready,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
I got your back, but I would see the fear in her eyes.
It was scary because when he called, and it's crazy because my kids and I, we were actually talking about it a few days ago, and my 17-year-old, who was 6 at that time, she was telling me how she remembers that day. She said, "I remember that day, Mom. I remember we were all so scared." And she says she remembers because I had him on speakerphone so that I could record with my cell phone. And so she said she remembers hearing him making those threats, hearing saying that he was going to come shoot us all. And she said that her and my other children were upstairs making a plan. Okay, if he comes, we're going to run here.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that Mercedes was just telling me that a few days ago, and it's crazy because
they were already planning like a getaway plan or something. Wow, that's shocking to me because this is the first time I'm hearing this.
She said, and Julian, he was saying, okay, we need to make a plan for Mom too, to get Mom to safety too. So just to think about that they are kids at that young age,
and they're already planning something like that,
right?
And so I get it because he had a rifle. He hunts, he hunted, and so knowing that he was a hunter,
right?
It's like it wouldn't be hard for him to carry that that threat out. So I totally relate to living in fear because I did. So why don't you tell us more?
Well, I get the question asked, was he abusive before that happened? And I would say yes, he was, and we separated. I will leave him. I had restraining orders on him before, but the restraining orders didn't matter. It's just a piece of paper and we even worked together. We worked at the same place, and I remember going to the job and telling, because he was in management at the time. I was in management as well, but he was in higher management. And I would go and I would tell the management, the managers, like, okay, well, this is what he's doing. So they were just like, okay, well, there's nothing that they can do because it's not work related. And I even had restraining orders as well. And even when I had restraining orders, he knew what time I got off work. I remember coming outside when I would get off work and my car would be gone. So he'll do stuff like that. Come and take the car. Move it to another garage and just be sitting out there watching me look for the car. Oh
my God.
I would be at work and he'll just come out of nowhere and be like, because he knew we didn't have cameras in the garage, and he was like, I can kill you right here and nobody would know it. He took my cell phone one time, I remember, and I got home from work. I was at work. And when I got home, my cell phone was all broken into pieces in a plastic bag sitting on my porch. So he played those games to let me know that no matter what I do, if I complain, if I leave him, he still can get to me. Right. So when we divorced, we actually talked that Friday because our divorce was final that Friday. So I'm thinking, okay, everything is fine. So we talked about it. I said, okay, look, this is, we're divorced, because he didn't show up to court that day when our divorce was final. And that was because he just wasn't showing up to court. So the judge was like, look, I'm not giving y'all another date. I'm just going to go ahead and grant it. So it was surprising to me that it was granted that day. But in a way, I was glad, because all they was going to do is go give us another date, which we've had like about 10 of those already. Just keep going, and that's what he thought that it was going to happen. So we go to, so now the divorce is final. So now I got to tell him we're divorced. So I go and I talk to him, and I met him at a public place. We met at a restaurant, and we talked, and I'm thinking things were okay. He talked, and I said, okay, the divorce is final. This is good. We can still, let's be friends. At the time, the youngest one, he was 2. And I was just like, we'll, make arrangements for him. The oldest 2, they were, they was doing their own thing. So I thought everything was okay. And so that weekend, I had already planned a trip for me and my aunt, and we went to Canada. And Canada is like right across the bridge under the tunnel from Detroit. So it's like going from here to Louisville. Okay. Pretty much.
Wow, that's close.
So we went to Canada, and we were hanging out, and it was just like right on time, for that trip. And so we were just hanging out, and he just kept calling me, and I just was like, I didn't think nothing of it. I'm like, what is he calling me? It was bad reception. That's when we had those old phones back in the day where you got to be like, can you hear me now?
So it's been a Primeco phone.
Right, yeah. So it was like, and then I'm over off the water, so he really couldn't hear me. So I didn't think nothing of it. I'm like, okay, he could just wait till I get back. And so that's why I went on that Sunday. He called me and asked me, was I home? And I was like, no. And I was pulling up in my driveway, and that's when he was at my house. So I found out later that he broke into the house, because I didn't know if he was in the house already or if he broke in the house. I just know when I walked in the house, I had my bags and stuff in my hand, and I went to my bedroom, and I turned around, and he was like right there in my face. Wow. And so I have my cell phone in my hand, and I'm trying to like call 911. And the first thing he did was just grab my cell phone and just threw it up against the wall to break it. So I didn't know if he was in the house or not already. But I found out after the police investigation and all that he cut the screen door and broke into the house. That's how he got in. But he had to be watching me, because I didn't even I still had like my bags and stuff in my hand. Yeah, so I didn't even know. So, but I locked the door because I said, I know, if he come over, I will have to open the door for him. Right. Because I was just wondering why he keep calling me.
Waiting for you.
Yeah, he had to be like outside the house watching me come home.
And you walked in, he did his little thing.
He did, yeah.
And
wow. Yes. So.
That's crazy. And, it is crazy because a lot of times, women don't believe that it can go that far. Sometimes they think, no, he won't do nothing that crazy, and it's like,
right.
No, girl. I mean, if he's hitting you or abusing you in any type of way, you have no idea how far he will go.
Right.
Because their mind is just, they're crazy enough to even raise their hand to you to begin with. You just never know how far they'll take you.
Right.
And I think a lot of times that's why, unfortunately, some of these women end up losing their lives, because it's not taken as serious as it should be. They think that, no, he won't hurt me that bad.
Right.
And then they end up dead or almost dead.
Right. Because, I was the same way. I was just thinking, okay, well, he wouldn't hurt me. I was thinking that, then when we would argue or whatever, and I was just like, okay. So when we first started arguing, I just was like, okay, it was like one of those, I can't believe he just did that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, did he just do it? And then it came with me pretty much like the embarrassment. I didn't want to tell my family. I didn't want them to know. And then I had relatives too, where I was scared if they would have got involved, if anything would have happened. it would have been my fault. So it was a lot of things that, and I was just thinking I could handle it. Okay, I'll leave.
You had a lot of guilt, like something happened.
Yeah, I had guilt.
Yeah.
Right, and I did, and I had the guilt, and I remember, you know, and I kept leaving him, and you know, he'll say, okay, well, things will work out. I mean, he went and he checked himself into a mental hospital before. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe he can change. But then it got to the point where I was just like, okay, you know what? I deserve so much better. Right. And I went ahead and went with a divorce.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a major step in for women to make, is realizing that they do deserve better.
Yes.
Because a lot of times they don't. A lot of times, you know, us as women sometimes think that we can't do better, that that's what we deserve, or you know, maybe, you know, I shouldn't make him as mad, or maybe, you know, I should do this and maybe he'll change. Or
I'll put in that not all men, you know, are like that. I'm here not defense, I guess. But some men, not all men are like that. You know, break up, some men just can go on.
Right.
But there are just men out there that can't take a breakup. It's like they have to have that mind control over a woman, and then when they're just want to have the control over the woman and can't see her with another man or even think of it, because then they start going, that's when the craziness, you know, jumps in, and they start thinking all crazy, and that's where I believe the abuse comes in, because then now they're losing control of the woman because they're so obsessed. At this point, I don't think it's just love anymore. I think they're just obsessed. So I think at this point now that they're going to start the beating, you know, so they can just stay there, and which is, you know, it's sad because, you know, that's what happens, you know, because I got a lot of friends that they can break up or whatever, you know, they'll hurt, they'll come over and they'll cry, whatever, and they'll throw little tantrums. But then I got some crazy friends that, I'm gonna do this. I'm like looking at them like, but that was before I was saved. I would hear them and I go, man, why are you gonna do that? Well, you know, this is that. But I start learning these guys, and they're just like, when they start losing that control, that mind control, when the woman's fixing to leave, that's when they start raising their hands to try to control the game, to control it back. And then they start thinking, oh, she's going to be with that other guy. They go to Walmart and meet another man. What about me? And that becomes a macho thing after that.
Wow.
Well, some men start raising their hands even before the breakup. I mean...
Yeah, and that's very true. That is very true. A lot of men do start, you know...
My first husband started abusing me, I think, 6 months into the relationship. So, and it started small, you know, a slap here and a slap there. And then, you know, then it turned into, you know, the fist in my face and the kicking and, you know, throwing against the wall, choking, and so I think it you know, it starts off slow. So, you know, every situation is different. Every abuse situation is different. You know, there's of course there's physical, verbal, emotional, financial. You know, there's different forms of abuse.
Yeah, there is, because there is a lot of verbal abuse out there.
Oh yes.
So every person's situation is different, but I think the common denominator is the control. Like, they feel the need for control, and it is a mind control thing. And you know, a lot of people think that, you know, it's easy to leave, when in reality it's not. It's not as simple as just get up and leave, because you know, there's a lot of factors. You know, there could be, you know, work, and then of course there's the kids. You know, you got to make a safe plan, not just for yourself, but to get your kids out safely also. And then, of course, you know, like you mentioned earlier, the family members that want to get involved. Because we all have those family members that will go to the end of the earth to protect you. But then you're protecting them because you don't want them to get involved. You wonder
if they're going to get hurt, too. Because if they get hurt, then you're going to feel bad.
Right. So there's so many factors that go into that one decision of leaving. So, you know, for the audience out there, you know that if you know someone going through it and you're frustrated because they don't get up and leave, you know, there's some reasons behind it. You know, it's not, you know, she doesn't want to be there, and I'm sure she wants to leave. You know, I'm 100% positive she wants to leave.
Right.
But, you know, there's a lot of factors that go into making that decision.
Right. And I know a lot of people would ask me, you know, like, well, why didn't you leave? Well, it was times I would leave. Right. You know, I would leave. And then, you know, it seemed like when I left, it was worse. Right. Because now he's stalking me. Now I'm,
I don't find everything about it.
I don't know where he's at. He's showing up. So I figure, okay, well, if I'm there, it's
where he's at.
I know where he's at. I know if he's mad, so I can get him. But it was just, it wasn't that easy. And with women, now that I'm sharing my story and I speak and I help women in situations, of course we want them to leave, by all means, but you have to do it with a plan, in a way, or you have to have some kind of support there, because if you leave and then you don't have any support there, most of the time you're going to go back. And with me, I felt like I really didn't have support there, and then a lot of it was, my family, they were there, but was they support? No, not really, but I didn't know of organizations like Her Future Matters. I didn't know of organizations. So if you know someone that's in an abusive relationship, yes, you want them to leave, but give them the tools, lead them to the organizations where they can be safe.
And let them know that they can come to you when they're ready.
When they're ready.
That is so important.
Yes.
To let them do it on their timing.
My wife gets phone calls all times of the night. She was early in the morning. She got a phone call. She goes, "I need to go." And where are you going this early? She was I got to meet this woman. She needs help. Yeah. So I just tell her, keep your phone right beside you so I can, because a lot of women don't feel comfortable if I show up. It's something, it's just a woman thing, I believe, that they see another man, they feel like, oh, wow, is he with them or not, So I let my wife go on her own, but I always tell her, hey, have that phone beside you and text me, answer me, don't just leave me hanging, because I get worried too. Right. And she gets phone calls middle of the night. She gets emails, and I'm like, help these women. That's what
my main thing is, because with Her Future Matters, I help with clothing and the shoes and the purses, and I have, I know different organizations that help. So I don't have a shelter. I wish I did, so I don't have a place. I don't want to mislead anyone out there to think that I can, that I have a shelter. I don't, but I will do my absolute best to get you to safety, and if that means that I need to come get you where you're at, then I'll do that.
And my wife had told me, "Do you feel comfortable?" Honestly, if she's helping a woman, I go ahead and go. I don't feel comfortable. I feel like something's gonna happen to her. So that's why I always tell her take her phone and be. But if it gets to a point, I just tell her, just bring her to our house so we can get her some safety.
And I've offered that before too. If I need to bring you to my own home until we can get you into shelter, find a place for you, or make a plan, then we'll do that. But my thing is that I want to help the women get to safety. Because I wish I had that. I didn't have that, and I think that's why I'm so passionate about it, and I think that's why I go to the links that I go to, because I wish that was available to me back when I needed it. Because I didn't have a big support system, because friends and family that knew that I was in it were frustrated, like, oh, well, she likes it, that's why she stays. And so I was told, don't come around here because I don't want anything like that. And so then you feel those doors close in your face, and when you do get to a point where you are able to leave safely, you already know you can't go there. Or you feel that way. Because, the door was shut on me, and they told me this. So, and that's why I'm speaking to the audience, if you know somebody going through it, just letting them know that you'll be there when they are ready, that makes a huge impact.
And I was one of the people that would say, I've said it before, before I was saved and before I knew, my wife explained this, the process of how it goes. I would always say, well, you like it, you stay, you're the one to get beat.
And people will,
I was one of them. I can say that I was one of them. And I'll be like, well, she likes it, she must like getting beat. Until I met, me and Jennifer reconnected. So she sat down and kind of schooled me, because she told me, you're going to learn today. And she told me, and that's when my thoughts started, like, wow. I started thinking more, and I was like, she's right. And all these ideas and all these thoughts she was giving me. So, I was one of them guys. I was one of them people that would say, well, she likes it. I was like 150% one of the people.
And I had cousins who I grew up, we all grew up, and in middle school, they had boyfriends that were, and I would see their boyfriends like literally beating them up, like slamming them down, having black eyes, beating. I'm like literally like beating them up. And I was always the type like, I wish a guy would, do that to me. But in my mind, I'm thinking like, well, why are they staying? Why are they still with them? But they needed help, but nobody was helping. They were so busy, like myself. I was judging, criticizing why they didn't get out instead of, they probably didn't feel safe, because if they got out, then what?
And you said something interesting, that this was in middle school.
This was middle school. Guys were doing this.
So number one, they were probably seeing that at home, so they thought it was normal. And number two, no one's really talking to these young girls. Right. And that's why, I've been trying to make it a mission to speak to, the young girls. And that is why back in January I did that Empower Her event in Duncanville, because, doing the Her Future Matters events, I realized that a lot of the things that we all had in common with our abusers, we met them when we were teenagers. Some as young as 14, some 15, some 17. And so, I had like an epiphany, like, hey, we need to get to our young girls.
While they're young.
And let them know what the red flags are. And let them
which
know
makes me think, what are these young men seeing at home for beating these young girls?
And, a lot of times you get, I've gotten, comments on, well, we don't want to talk to our young girls about that because we don't want to condone teen dating. Well, it kind of goes hand in hand. It's like when people say they don't want, their teenagers, they don't want to talk to their teenagers about sex because they don't want to condone sex. Bottom line is that we were all teenagers once. And we all know teenagers going to do what a teenager wants to do. Right. It doesn't mean that it was condoned. It just meant we were going to do what we wanted to do. And nothing's changed. The teenagers today are still going to do what they want to do. So it doesn't mean that we're condoning teen dating. Doesn't mean that we're condoning any type of behavior. But we want to give them the education. Right. We want to, so that they knowledge know, of it. The knowledge right. That they know that the resources are there. Even if they don't need it now, they might need to know it down the future. Or they might know a friend that might need it. So, I think it's very important that we do educate our young girls and the guys. Right. I think they need to know it too. It goes both ways.
They're probably in broken homes. That's probably what they're seeing. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying. But from what I think, they probably just need some spiritual guidance. They probably need somebody to talk to, because young men like that act out because they're watching what's going on at home. They mimic what's going on. They don't have a role. They're role modeling what they're seeing. And I believe that a lot of times the home just needs a spiritual guidance. They need some kind of help, because when I was younger, I used to think a lot of things were cool, but I would role model because I would mimic my friends or I would mimic different people. But as I started growing up, I started seeing this ain't the way. This ain't to go. I was being taught wrong.
And even like with the fighting in the home, I mean, I saw that growing up. I saw it. I saw at my grandparents' house, I saw my uncles just beating their girlfriends, and nobody did anything. So growing up, I'm just looking like nobody is going to say anything, and my grandmother be right there, and my uncles be fighting their girlfriends, and I'm like, nobody is going to stop it. Nobody is going to. As a kid, I'm just looking
and you start thinking. You probably start thinking that when you're a kid. Well, I did. That's just normal.
It's just normal.
It's just normal. It becomes a norm thing. A normal thing.
You're told, well, mind your business.
Right.
Man, I was one of them. I used to tell Jennifer that mind your business,
Right, you mind your business. So it comes.
For me, it is my business. Domestic violence is my business.
Right. Right.
We witnessed one time. They're not our neighbors anymore, but they used to be our neighbors across the street, and that's when Abraham really realized how passionate I am about domestic violence, because there was. The old neighbor guy was abusing his girlfriend, living girlfriend, beating her out there in the street. And I was like, you need to do something, stop that, or do something. And he was like,
mind your business.
And people say, don't do anything.
Yeah, I said, you're not going to do anything. He's like, no, mind your business. I said, that is my business.
Right.
And if you don't do something, I am. And that's when he was like, whoa, what are you doing? And I'm like, no, I said, that is not okay.
Right.
He's like, that doesn't concern us. I'm like, but it concerns me because I was that woman.
Wow.
That was me. And I wish somebody would have stopped me.
I did feel bad when she told me, and that's when I started thinking. But when I looked over there later on that day, I seen her crying outside the porch. And
the young lady?
The young lady.
Yeah.
And I was like, she was on the porch crying, and I was like, wow. I mean, I was just silent. I didn't know what to think.
She needed help. And people do. They just go by.
And then I told Jennifer, why don't you go talk to her? But that's when they left. But one of my family members, he knows who he would say, man, I'm going to call the cops. But he never did. But he goes, if that happens again, I'm calling the cops on him. And but yeah, that's when I really saw her. One of the times when I really saw her passion, and I go, man, just mind your business. What are you doing?
Right.
And no, that's not right. And so I was like, whoa. So when she told me again, I'll say that again. She told me, well, if you don't do something by I am, I said, whoa. I said, then if the guy tells her something, then it's gonna be my business.
Right.
So before it escalated, it did stop.
Okay.
But I felt so bad for her because she was crying in the porch, and everybody in the household was just passing by like normal.
Just like it was normal.
Like it's an everyday thing.
And I saw one day, I was driving to work one morning, and I saw a guy. I mean, this is like broad daylight. He's outside. They must have been driving, and it was stopped like on a busy street because the car doors were still open. And he's just dragging, just beating this girl, just trying to pull her in the car. And so I'm going slow, trying to call 911 light, and everybody's just driving past. I'm like, nobody is gonna stop and help this. I had people honking their horn at me so that I can keep going because I'm trying to slow down and get the license plates, call the police.
You're trying
and
to do
people were like mad at me because I was slowing down. So I'm calling the police. Like, look, this young girl is getting beat up. You can tell she was scared because he's pulling her in the car while he's dragging her, and no one was stopping to help her.
It could have been maybe and I don't know what the situation, but it could have been kidnapped.
It could have been
anything, and everybody just ignored it.
And then I had to think: is it that no one is helping because they're scared that he may do something? But I'm like, you could have been in your car, you could have stopped, you could have called. Like I was calling 911, but everybody was just riding past.
Even if you are scared, just give you the benefit of the doubt. You're scared. I can get that, but call,
because you don't know. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, like, how is the young lady? What if he took her somewhere and killed her?
And what if you saw her in the news later on? Then you were like, wow.
And nobody did anything. And that, like you say, because you was that person. I was that person because I remember my ex-husband trying to pull me in the car after he stabbed me, and I knew I was going to be dead if I would have got in the car.
I don't know, but she's had stab marks because I don't know if she's mentioned on the show, but one time we were already married, and I saw some marks on her back, and I said, Jennifer, what happened here? And she just looked at me, and I said, babe, what happened? There's a story behind this. Because I have them. I have stab marks in my leg, but that's because I used to fight roosters when I was younger, and one of the spurs went in there because I wasn't careful enough. But anyways, that's another story. And I said, babe, what's wrong with you? What happened? She said, my ex-husband stabbed me. And I felt at that moment my heart just dropped. And I was
he threw a knife at me.
Wow.
And it sliced me in the back. So
it didn't look like no slice. It looked like they were, they just stabbed her. They just.
It went in, yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, and I have little scars, from different things. I have one of my front tooth. It's chipped, and I hate that because I always had perfect straight teeth, and it's like he took that away from me because one of them's chipped now. So. But like you said, that was me. What I can relate. If I see it, all I can think of that was me. That was once me.
Right.
And I wish somebody would have helped. I remember being dragged out of. I work at an Albertsons. He found me at my job, and was dragging me out by my hair. He literally dragging me like a man, like a caveman dragging the woman. And but thank God the store manager, somebody called a code something over the speaker, and all the men came in and tackled him down. But still, like, he dragged me from like the floral department and almost had me out the front door. So I can relate to things like that. And it's like just happening in broad daylight in public, and people want to mind their business.
And nobody do nothing about it.
Like, that's everyone. If it's happening out in the public,
imagine what's going on inside.
It is your business. You know, get involved. Pick up a phone. Call for help. It's not hard. Everybody wants to pick up their phone to record video.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
It is. It is crazy. So everybody wants.
Or
to
nobody wants
video.
to be called snitch. You know.
Yeah,
or,
but you're videotaping it.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
instead of calling 911.
You're putting it on Facebook so everybody can watch it.
You know? Instagram, Facebook, wherever. You don't want to be a witness. You don't want to get involved, but you're quick to take out that phone to video it and post it all over your social media.
Yep.
But you don't want to be involved. Okay, that makes a whole lot of sense.
Right. So yeah, I wish that there was, organizations that was out there that I knew, and with me with my brand that I am worth it. I didn't know my worth. I didn't. No one ever really talked to me and told me, you know what, or even asked me the question, what am I worth? So that's why I always ask the question, what are you worth? Because
when you asked me, I was like,
no one ever asks us. Nobody ever asks us that question. Because when they do, it makes you really think like, wow, what am I worth? Yeah. So now you're defining it yourself.
Right.
Well, now you're feeling good about who you are because it's what you believe.
And that's so important because a lot of times in an abusive relationship, you're being told over and over you're worth nothing.
Nothing.
But ask yourself, what are you worth? And let yourself be that person to define what you're worth. Don't let someone else who's abusing you tell you your worth because they're not they're not valid to tell you
exactly
your worth.
Because what they're going to tell you. I remember my ex-husband all the time, his words, you're ugly. Mm-hmm. No one will want you. Yeah. You have 3 kids. You're stupid. You're this. Yeah. So I would listen
without me.
Right. So I would listen to all of that. And then at some point I was believing it.
Well, it starts brainwashing
I was believing it. Yeah. It's all my fault. Yeah. So when things were going on in our house, I didn't tell because, he told his side of the story. So I kept quiet.
So how long were you married to him?
I've known for 10 years.
You were married
known for 10 years. So it was just like, in the beginning, everything was great. Everything was good. And, and he lost his mother, he lost his grandmother, and he told me, because when he was in prison, he calls and he talks to my son because he has a cell phone. So one day he called my phone, and I'm looking like, okay, why are you calling my phone?
Yeah.
That's why I answered, because I really wanted him to apologize. And he did, but I wanted him to say why. Because I just wanted to hear his story.
Why. Don't just say sorry.
He just started lying in the beginning. And I just was like, you're not sorry. You're still lying about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking like,
so he still can't take accountability for what he did.
And I even had to ask a counselor. I said, now, do people lie so much that they believe their own lies? Or is he, or he know he lying? I think he know he lying. Because come on now, dude, And then I'm like, is the phones recorded? I know that, but he know.
He probably feels bad, but don't know how to apologize.
Now, he said, well, I'm really, really sorry. I didn't mean to. And I just was like, for what? You're sorry for what? Mm-hmm. And he just was like, for hurting you and the kids. But he never would admit how it happened, like what happened that day. Like for some reason, it's still twisting the blame a little bit on me.
So he still can't say, I'm sorry I stabbed you.
Right. He said he was sorry for stabbing me, but he wants to, in a way, kind of like justify it.
That's what I was going to say.
Your fault.
Yeah. I did it because
you made me do it.
Right. Wow. So I'm like, okay,
but
whatever.
I remember my wife used to tell me that her ex-husband used to say, or her ex-man, nobody's going to want you with 4 kids. No.
Yeah,
that's what I did.
And that's what they'll do. He tried to take my self-esteem, because if you look at me, the stab wounds are you really can't tell. I mean, I have a few. People know I wear long sleeves a lot because you can see some marks on my arm, so that's why I don't really wear like tank tops a lot. But a lot of them were in my face
And you can't tell.
I had a lot of stab wounds in my hand because they call them the defensive wounds because they were in my, I had them up in my face. You can see them in my hand a little. And then he cut a nerve. So I don't know if you ever had a nerve cut where my finger is like tingling. I guess that's a good word at all times. Have you ever like broke a glass, a light bulb or something?
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like. So, but I just thank God that you can't see the wound. So I'm a miracle. I'm serious.
Yeah, you are.
Because when I saw the pictures and how I look, I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, why was he just going for my face? And you can't even tell.
You can't.
But you used all that bad that happened, and you didn't let it define who you are.
Right.
You turned all that around for good.
Yes.
So, like Scripture says, what the enemy, tries to use for evil, God will turn it around for good.
Yes.
And you did that.
Right.
So tell us what you're doing.
Wow.
Now.
Well, it's just when I just say I'm like just so amazed because I didn't share. I held my story in for 10 years.
Wow.
I just started sharing it 2 years ago. So when I moved here to Texas, nobody knew me. Nobody knew what happened to me, anything. Only people knew was in Michigan because it was breaking news there in Detroit. But nobody here knew me. So I came here like with a clean fresh start.
Nobody knew.
So I was just like, okay, living my life. And then I was watching TV, and I normally don't watch TV a lot. And so I saw on TV where an ex-husband went in and killed the ex-wife. They were watching a football or basketball game, something in Plano about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And so God told me to share my story. And I didn't want to. Sometimes when God tells you to do, you try to negotiate, and I'm looking like, I'm good, God, because I talk to him like that. I'm like, God, look, I'm straight, and he like, right?
I know what you
and
mean.
so I was just like, and he said, share your story. And so I said, okay. So I'm being obedient. I'm sharing the story. So that's when I reached out to James, the owner of Southern Dallas Magazine. And I just told him my story, and I didn't know that he was going to put me on the cover of the magazine. Now, this magazine is 2 years old, but I always keep it with me, always, in my purse. So I didn't know I was going to be on the cover of this magazine. Yes. And this was in the October edition, like 2 years ago. And so now I'm at church and people are looking at me and I'm looking at them like, why they looking? And then I see a lady holding a magazine and I'm like, oh, that's me on the cover. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. And so now women are coming to me saying, thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. You helped me. I had people, they're showing me their scars.
You're
like,
inspired of the people.
My ex-husband did this. My boyfriend did that. And I'm just like boo-hoo crying. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, God, I get it. It wasn't about me. It wasn't for me to go through that and hold it in. Right. And so I had told you, I said, I didn't know you were going to put me on the cover. And he said, God did that. And I didn't understand. Me, but now as women as they come into me, and I'm like, okay, it wasn't about me. It's now who I can help. Right. So I said, I'm on a mission now, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart, to help people define their worth. Yes. And that's how, the You're Worth It show came about, the I Am Worth It shirts, because like I said earlier, I didn't know my worth. Right. And as I talk to a lot of people, because there's a lot of hurting people out there. Everybody have different stories. Right. Maybe people didn't go through domestic violence, but everybody has a story or have went through something.
Right.
So what I do, I just want to give hope to others. I believe if I went through all of that, I know I'm alive today because God has a purpose and a plan for my life. The enemy could have took me out 12 years ago, but I'm here today. Amen. So I have to know that my pain, it really has pushed me into my purpose. Right. And with the You're Worth It, none of that probably would have came about. I probably would have been happy with my little farmer's agency selling insurance. Okay? Right. But when God, nothing against that. But God had his hands on me and say, no, this is what you have to do. Right. And I always felt like it was something inside of me, so much more. I don't don't know, and people probably think I'm crazy, but I always say, have you ever had someone just shaking you to your core, which is something in the inside where you know that you're meant to do more.
Right.
And that's what I say. I'm here to do more. I don't know what that is, but I dream so big, but I really think I'm going to change the world. I don't know how, but I'm going to leave an impact.
Yes.
So when I die, people are going to know I live.
Leave your mark.
People are going to know I live. It's going to be somebody. People are going to say, you know what, Setra, she touched my life. She helped me. She encouraged me. She inspired me without even meeting me. Those are the ones.
Yeah.
Because, and someone asked me before, and I say this all the time, they ask me, what do I fear? And I said, it's not much that I fear. But only thing I fear is if I died tomorrow, who would know I lived?
Yeah.
And I say that because we say our friends and family, they'll come and they'll say nice things at your funeral. But whose life did you really touch that didn't even meet you?
Right.
Who can say, Her Future Matters, I called that organization and they changed my life.
Exactly.
I saw, I was listening to Her Future Matters, and that guest on Jenna's show, they changed my life.
Right.
That's what I know that I'm here for.
Right.
I'm here, and I say I am on a mission, y'all. And I just know, because when God, and I can't run from it, because sometimes I just get, don't you know, have you ever get tired when you feel like, okay, look, God, I'm doing all this.
Right.
Like, ooh, I'm tired.
Yes.
But when you know God has that calling and He's telling you to do it, I have to do it.
You have to push through.
I have to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you said, it's not about you.
It's not.
It's not about us.
Right.
It's about people.
Right.
Back to ministry. It's
Back to me, woo, and God used me for ministry. Woo. I remember when I first got into ministry, I worked at my church at the Potter's House, Dallas, and I went. I was going there for counseling because I was just like, Lord, I don't know, what am I doing? You know, I was doing good insurance agency. I was making good money. You know, I thought I had it going on, but I was still empty inside.
Right.
And I'm like, it's something more. I really want that relationship with God. And so the minute they said, okay, well, why don't you work here in the ministry? And I'm like, work in the ministry, do what? Girl, why they put me in the I was in partners relations where I was doing prayer calls. Now I say, okay, God, you set me up. This is funny. You having me doing prayer calls? Look, I am broken. I can't even pray for myself right now. And they put me to do prayer calls. So I said, okay, God, if this is what you're telling me to do, do it. I remember that first prayer call I got, right? I was like, hold on. And I had somebody else take the call because I was terrified. And so the next one, so they couldn't keep doing that for me. So I had to start doing the calls myself. So now I'm start praying for people. But all along, God is using and strengthening me so that I can pray for myself. Because I was broken. And so now I'm getting these praise reports, because I would say, call me with your praise report, and they'll call me and they'll say, well, Setra, you did this, you prayed for my son, you prayed for my daughter, you did this, and I'm like, wow. So that was filling me up, and I didn't know why God was calling me to ministry, because I'm like, me, but I'm so glad that He did, because it's a purpose behind it.
You might not understand
Woo.
it. It's not going to make sense. It's probably never going to make sense in the beginning. When God's calling you, it's just not going to make sense. But you have to just have that faith, and go through it, and it'll come together later.
It will.
You're going to be like, that's why.
That's why. Because I was broke. And people would look on the outside and be like, oh, well, she's doing good. She got her own insurance agency. She got staff. She got an office. But I was just like so broken inside. I wanted more in life.
Yeah, it's not, you can be making all the money in the world and still your life will feel empty sometimes. Something's not being fulfilled.
Right.
And it's until, you are really living your purpose.
Right.
And fulfilling your purpose that's finally going to fill in for you.
Right. Woo.
You can just be making all this, having a good, I did that. I was working a good job. Working in accounting and making good money, but I wasn't being used for my purpose. And our pastor prophesied over us a year ago, and he told me that I wouldn't be working in back of a computer for much longer, that I was called to reach the hurting women in the world.
Right.
And I didn't know what that meant. I was like, what do you mean? And that was sometime before Easter.
Mm-hmm.
And then, several weeks later is when I realized that, a person came to church and we had a guest speaker.
Mm-hmm.
And just in the message she was sharing with us, it just like dawned on me. And I told Abraham, I said, I need to reach women like me. He said, what do you mean women like you? I said, women.
Broken women like her, like that were brainwashed, that were told she was nothing, that she was beaten, and she would now, women that are just dragging in mud, don't know what to do, how to get out the relationship, and when they don't know where to go.
Right.
This was her call.
Right.
Yeah, and I told him, I said, the day that I left, the day that I ran and just never looked back, I ran with just the clothes on my back.
Mm.
Shoes on my feet, clothes on my back, whatever was on my person. And that was it. I didn't have anything. I didn't have a toothbrush. I didn't have deodorant. I didn't have the basics. So that's what I told him. I said, when I left, I needed a job. I needed this. I needed that. So when I do an event for these women, I want to be able to just hand it all, like,
yes,
it's all right here.
And the Lord blessed her so much that she's got so much clothes in our storage.
Wow.
She's got clothes at our house.
Like the word says, when you do for the Lord and you give willingly and cheerfully, because the Lord loves a cheerful giver, He will bless you to the point where you have no room to store it.
Yes.
And that is come to pass. Like,
wow.
I'm always getting these donations and
all the time,
and it's awesome because I'm able to give that to the women.
She's got her trunk full of clothes. She's got my living room like a rack, 2 racks clothes there, and my son. Somebody told me, I keep forgetting. Doesn't that bother you? No, I don't.
Because these women, some of them leave with nothing.
Because I tell
nothing.
I tell my wife, I said, you're going to run into that one woman that's going to need all this.
Yeah.
And go ahead, it's right there. And she had a garage not so long ago because she was too much. And but I told her, when that woman comes, just let her get all she wants.
Yeah, and I'm able to do that. I give it to them for free. And like he mentioned, I did have a yard sale like 2-3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. But like I told him, that money goes right back into giving them the things that they need that I don't get donated. Like, if they need food or if they need toiletries or
right.
Women need, pads sometimes or, just whatever, that's able to do that. So, we are blessed. Her Future Matters, the ministry has been greatly blessed. And, and it's just been an amazing ride this past year.
And I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for you.
We're thankful for you too, because you got us on board here, and it was
because you spoke at my event.
Your event, and it was so powerful. And I still speak to some of the ladies that I met from your event. Yeah. So anyway, I feel like I can help. Like if there's someone that's in need, if I can help, I get on my social media. Look, this family needs help because I know what it's like.
Yes,
I was single with 3 kids with nowhere to go, had nothing. Yeah. Some people, they just need.
You even help with the Christmas gifts, right?
We did.
With the Christmas gifts, and I reached out and I thank my Facebook friends and family because I say, look, this family needs help.
Yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, that we can help, just put a smile, especially on a kid's face.
Yes.
Because we don't know what's going on in their homes, what they see.
Right.
I look back now and I remember my daughter, she's 23 now, and she would tell me some of the things that she heard or seen. And I'm like, wow.
So I wanted to ask you earlier in the show because you said how your 2-year-old and 12-year-old were forced to watch. Does your 2-year-old recall? Well, he was 2 then.
Mm-hmm. My 2-year-old remembers everything that happened. He the one who told me what happened after it happened. Because, when we were finally able to go back, to the house, we went to the room and he'd be like, Mom, Dada did this. Dada threw your phone right here. Dada did that right here. So he knew everything.
How old is he now?
He's 14.
Does he say anything about it now?
I talked to him about it 2 years ago when I started sharing my story because I really held it in. Mm-hmm. But now since, I'm sharing and I know that they're going to hear about it, I sat all 3 of them down and I said, okay, you know what, now that I'm sharing my story, you're going to be hearing about what happened. And he was 12 at the time and he hugged me and cried. and said, as long as my mom is alive. And that touched me so much because, first of all, 12-year-olds don't want to hug their mom nowadays, right?
Yeah, you're right about that.
He think he's too cool to hug. But just to really see that side of him, to say that he's happy I'm alive, and just think I held it in all those years thinking I'm protecting him by not talking about it. But then as I talked about it, he just was like, I'm glad. My daughter, when I told her, she said, Mom, I'm proud of you. And I was just like, and it do, and I'm like, wow. My oldest son, he really don't show that much emotion, but he helps me a lot. So with those I am worth it shirts, he helps me in my events and things. So cool. That's his way of showing, Mom, I'm glad what you're doing it, and you have to keep doing it. Even my grandbaby, I have a grandbaby, she even have her I am worth it shirt. Because you got to tell them young. You have to tell them while they're young, you're worth it. So every time I see my granddaughter, I just pour affirmations in her. Hey, beautiful. Hey, princess. Hey, game changer. You have to. And instead of all this because the world is going to give us so much negative stuff anyway. So it's up to us.
That's right. The world will teach our kids
to give them positive things. We're on assignment here. We have to. Yes. And when I get up there, I want God to say, you know what, Setra? You did it. Yeah. You did it.
Faithful servant.
Right. You did it. You didn't want to at first, but you did it.
You did it.
You didn't understand, but you did it. So I'm just amazed, and I'm just glad for all the connections and everything that God is doing with me and with your organization as well. I'm thinking right now some organizations I'm going to connect you with. So all of my Facebook listeners, all of the listeners on the radio, please connect with Her Future Matters.
Yes.
I mean, you're amazing.
Yes. Thank you. So are you. I love
she
you.
Still inspires me sometimes.
I know. Oh my gosh, yes.
I tell my wife, I say, wow, she inspires me because sometimes I fall short.
Yes.
And she just starts telling me and rebuking me, and I'm like, ooh, so.
So we are going to bring it to a close, but is there any advice that you have out there for women that are maybe in a situation where they're thinking about leaving but not sure, or what is it? What do you have to say?
I always, of course, I'm going to take it back to worth. Know your worth. Know that you are worth everything that God has promised you. Know that you are worth love. You're worth your peace, your joy, your happiness. You're worth your life. So you have to just know that. And once you know your worth, you'll make the decision. You'll make the right decision. Because a lot of us, we stay because we don't know that we're worth, everything that God has promised us, So that's what I would just say. Just know that you are worth it.
Yes, you are.
Yes.
And with that, we're going to bring it to a close.
Well, I got one more thing to say. You guys, I know that we talk on this show about man, this, man, that. But, you guys that are lost, that are broken, we got a church called Victory Outreach. And I came in broken. I came in on drugs. I came in drunk. I came in, still cussing at my wife, telling her all kinds of things. And, even in my past, my ex-wife, I verbally abused her. You guys out there that are broken, how easy it was to, I came in church. Well, it was easy for me to go get a 20. It was easy for me to go get something. I would go straight to the connect. But now I connect straight with the Lord. And that's what I want to do for you guys. If you guys need help out there, if you guys want help that that you want to change but you don't know how, you can just call me. Call me. No, I'm not even going to judge you. If you're doing the things that it's wrong and you want to change, just reach out to me. Reach out to me, and I will definitely help you and get you on the right path and get you some spiritual guidance. Because a lot of times us guys, we're so knucklehead. We just want to do what we want to do. We just want to bash women, talk about women and women this, my wife that, my wife. But what about us? We need to be worked on too. We need to be poured in so we'll know how to treat a woman, a lady. And I'll tell you one thing. One thing my pastor sent me one time. I was in Isaiah 41:10. It says, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand."
Right hand.
That's powerful, guys. That is very powerful. And I was one of them guys that verbally abused my ex-wife, verbally abused my wife. You know what? Now that I joined Victory Outreach, I'm a changed man. And I'm walking straight with the Lord, and I don't plan to change. That's where I'm going to stay. And I'll leave y'all with that.
Amen.
Amen.
There's nothing more attractive than a man who serves.
That's right. Give them the word. Give them the word. Yes.
Thank you all for tuning in to the HFM radio show. This is your host, Jenna Espinosa.
And Abraham Espinosa.
And we just want to thank Setra for joining us.
Thank you for joining us.
We will see, or you will hear from us again next Thursday at 6 o'clock. See you then.
Okay.
Awesome.
Look, this was good. I like being on this side of the mic. It might be back. I like it. It's easier being on this side.
Yeah, you're not having to flip through.
Right. Everything's fun. Thank you all for joining. Oh, look, and I finally got your magazine.
Okay.